we'll learn about business rules. Okay. So business rules will be under system definition. So if you type business rules, those will be under system definition. Okay. So generally, business rules are meant for, like, if there is any database transaction happens and business rule, if conditions on the business rule matches, then the business rule will get run. Okay. So either it can be like, generally we will be having database transactions means create, CURD operations, right? Create, read, update, and delete. Okay. So if you create any new record, or if you update any record, or if you try to read any record or delete any record, the business will be running. Okay. And we'll also see what is the definition given by ServiceNow for this. Okay, so generally, in my own terms, if there is any database transaction happens, the business rules will be running. Okay, and it's a server side application. The business rule is server side logic that execute when database records are queried, updated, inserted, or deleted. Okay, so whenever any database records are queried, means trying to read. Query means trying to read. Update, we know, like whenever we try to update existing record. Inserting means we are inserting fresh new record. Or if we try to delete any record. Okay. Business rules are a server side logic. Whenever any database records gets tried to query, update, or insert, delete, then business rule will be running. Okay. So basically there are four types of business rules. Okay. Before, after, async, and display before, after, async. Okay. These four are types of business rule. I'll tell you each and every business rule about. Okay. So if you see here, business rules respond to database interaction regardless of access method. Means from wherever you try to update or read or delete, business rules will be running. For example, if you are trying to see the record from the list view or the form view, or if you are trying to get the data from any REST calls or web services, or if you are trying to import the data using XMLs. Okay, so in these all method, so any of the method, the business rules will be running. Okay, so I'll show you. For example, incident. If I open incidents, so here we are querying the data from the incident table. Okay, here we are querying the data from incident table. That's why we are able to see all these incidents. So in these case also, the business rules will be running. Okay. Okay. If you try to open any record, then also the business rule will be running. And if you try to update or create a new record, then also business rules will be running. So this is from the list view and the form view. So similarly, the records might get inserted from any of the web services, means using the REST messages or scripted REST API, or through the SOAP API. Okay. So through any method, or if you try to import the data from any of the data imports or import sets, then also the business rules will be running. Okay. So business rules do not monitor forms or form fields. That means it's not a client side. It will all the things it will be checking at the server side only. And importantly, business rule will be based on a table. Like uh, we can write a business rule. For example, the table we need to select whenever we write any business rule. So it is based on a table. So whenever if you try to create any new business rule, here we have to select a table. Okay, that means it will be running only for that particular table if any other transaction gets happen on that particular table. Okay, for example, I can select any of the table. Okay, so only on that table, if anyone opens that table or if anyone saves that table, then only this business rules will get triggered. Okay, so I'm selecting incident as of now. Okay, so here we have when to run condition and actions and advanced checkbox. Okay, if you click advanced checkbox, then you can write the script. Okay, if you check this advanced checkbox, then you can write the script. Okay, if uh, if you can set the values from the actions itself, then you can directly use this. Okay, so when to run, so incident table will be like on the incident table we might want this particular business rule to be run whenever any records getting inserted or updated or deleted. So we have to specify when this particular business rule has to run. So do you want to run whenever any records is getting inserted or any record is getting updated? Okay. And we can also give the filter conditions here. That means only in few cases, like for example, I want this particular business rules to be run whenever any, for example, I want to run whenever assignment assigned to is empty. Okay. So whenever assigned to is empty, then I want to run this particular business rule. So I can select this condition. Otherwise, I can select state changes to. Okay, state. So there is a difference between state is and state changes to. I'll let you know. Okay, so state changes to some state. Okay, so if you write state is in progress, what happens is okay, and state changes to in progress. The difference will be, for example, it's already in progress, and if I try to save the form, okay, if I change something and if I try to save the form, this particular business rule this particular business rule will run. I'll just show you. Okay, that as well. So this particular business rule is running when it is running before inserting or before updating the data. It is running. Okay. And in the actions you can define what you have to do. So whether you want to set some other values or you want to show some message, okay, or you can directly here write in the script as well. Okay, so if you can directly add from here like incident is in progress. Okay, so this particular message will be shown. Let me remove these logs which are on this particular incident or other. I can search with incident table. I'm just making it active false. So when this particular business will filter, so whenever any data before updating the data or inserting the data, this particular business will run. Okay, so and the condition is state is in progress. So this condition is state is in progress and something happens on this particular incident. So this particular business rule should work and I'm getting incident is in progress. Okay, 1 minute. I'm doing that. So every time the incident is in progress, this particular business rules will run and this particular information I have got. Okay. So, but generally the requirement will be in some cases, most of the cases, it will be when it changes to, like for example, initially it was new, and then if it is changes to in progress, then only update it. Only operation on stage like changes. Like initially it might be something, and if it is changes to in progress, then only show that. Okay. So if I do this, and if I if I update something other than state field, and if I save it, that is not working because the state is also in new and I'm updating something else. So this particular condition is failing. That's why we didn't get that particular message. So now I'm changing the state from new to in progress. Okay. And I'm saving the form. So now I got incident is in progress. Okay. So now apart from state, if I try to change some other field and if I say I'm not getting that particular message. Why? Because I'm not changing the state. Okay. Only this particular business rule will run when state changes to in progress. Okay. So in this when to run condition, we have when this particular business rule should be run. So is it before updating the data, before updating or inserting the data, or after updating or inserting the data, or in async manner, or in display? Okay. So I'll show you what are the differences and uh, how we can use this. Okay. Here. So we have four types of business rules: before, after, async, and display. Okay, these are four types of business rules. So these will be deciding when this particular business rule will be running. Is it actually before updating or inserting or querying the data, or after updating, or okay? So this updation, insertion, and query and delete, these are operations. But here, when is there, right? This will decide actually when this particular business will be running. Okay, I'll show you what are the differences. So the before business rule will be running. So before business rules execute their logic before a database operation occurs. For example, I am trying to update something. Okay. So before updating that particular data, all the business rules will be running first. Then only that particular database operation occurs. Okay. So all the before business rule execute their logic before a database operation occurs. So I'll show you what it means. Okay. For example, I'm trying to save the form. Okay. For example, my requirement is I don't want to save the form if assigned to is empty. Assigned to is mandatory for me. So what I am doing, I am checking here. If assigned to is empty, okay. So I can say here, as of now, I don't want to add this message. Let's remove that. You can abort this action. Okay, abort action. The same thing we can write in the script as well. I'll show you that, but let's check this scenario. Okay, so I want to save something, and so it's saying invalid update. Why? This particular business rule is running. Why it is running? Because assigned to is empty. Okay. So I can even add some message. Like assigned to not be empty. So this particular incident is not getting saved. Okay. For example, let me refresh it. Okay. And I'm trying to change from email to operating system. Okay. And I am trying to save this. Okay. So it is saying invalid update assigned to can't be empty. So you might be seeing this is operating system, but this operating system doesn't save in the form. So I'll reload. So if I reload, the subcategory is remain email. If I try to change to operating system or category, I want to change it to network. Okay, and this is to IP address. And if I try to save the form, it won't save. It is saying invalid update assigned to cannot be empty. So if I refresh the form, initial values will be there. So actually it is not updating the form. So here we are able to restrict the updation of the form. Why we are able to do it? Because here we have written before update or before insert, this particular business rule should run. So this particular business rule is running. Why? Because assigned to is empty in this particular form. Okay, and here we are aborting the action. Abort action means don't run that particular transaction. Don't update that particular incident. Why? Because the incident is assigned to is empty. Okay. So actually before updating actual values, this particular business rule will run. Okay. So is there any doubts here? Is everyone able to understand? Any doubts? Okay. So I'm going next. So before business rule will execute their logic before a database operation occurs. Okay. This is the main thing you have to keep in mind. So use before business rule when field values on a record needs to be modified before database operation occurs. Okay. So generally, why we use before business rule is, so based on the values of the incident, if you want to update any other field values in the same incident record, okay, then we will be using this particular incident. Okay, I'll show you a few of the examples why we use before business rules. For example, clear armored reason is there. So this is the one of the business rule. We'll check. So whenever state changes and state is not on hold. Okay, so this, what is this particular business rule is doing? Clear the on hold reason. So before updating or inserting the data, when the state changes and state is not on hold, empty the on hold reason, means on hold reason is empty, none. Okay, so generally what happens is, if whenever the state is on hold, we will be selecting on hold reason, like on hold is awaiting color or awaiting problem or something like that. So and then we'll save the form. But this particular field, let me just raise our, okay, so this is called, this is because of this that particular, so let me just inactivate it so it won't run. So generally what happens whenever state is on hold reason is mandatory. Okay, because they have to select the on hold reason. Okay, so generally they will be selecting something like awaiting caller or something like that. Okay, what is the reason? All those we have to save it. Okay, but in the middle they might want to change it to in progress or resolved. So whenever they change it, okay, so whenever they change it, the on hold reason has to clear. Then only the next time whenever they do change to on hold, it should be empty. Okay, so that's why we have to update the on hold reason. Okay, so if you see now I have changed it the state to in progress, and I'll check what is the on hold reason. So how I can check? I can go to menu and click on show XML. So if you see, hold reason got empty. Why it got empty? Because state changed to in progress, and this particular condition is matching, which is state changes and state is not on hold. Then what you should do? You should empty the on hold reason. Okay, so generally this before business rules, why we will be using it? So whenever anything we are updating or inserting, if you want to update some other records, then like sorry, so whenever you are updating any of the record, if you want to update some other fields on the same record, okay, so whenever you are updating any field value, if you want to update other field values on the same record before actually updating that particular incident, then we have to use before business rule. If you want to update the fields on the same record, okay, then we have to use this particular before business rule. I'll check if there are any other incidents or not. Okay, any other business rules or not? I'll see. Okay. So it is not straightforward. So here, what we are doing, we are running this particular business rule before insert or update, and here in the condition we are calling the script include, which checks, which tells us whether this particular incident has reopened or not. So if it is reopened, what we are doing? Okay, we are checking is valid field. First, is valid field means is there any some valid value or there not? So if it is valid, then we are updating current reopen time. Current dot reopen time means we are updating this reopen time to gs dot now date time, means we are updating current time on the reopen time. Okay, and reopened by is current user. Okay, so here if you see, we are just using current dot field name. Okay, in before business rules, it, so whenever you are saving something, save or updating something, that means database operation is already occurring. Okay, so before actually updating, what I'll do, I'll try to run all the before business rules. So I'll be taking current dot field names from all the business rules, and whenever the form gets saved or form gets updated, there I'll update all the fields. So that's why I don't have to use current dot update or current dot like insert in before business rules. Okay, that's why I have just given the value of current dot field name here. Okay, in the before business rule. Okay, so before business rules run before the database operation. So so no extra operation are required. Okay. For example, concatenate two fields values, write a concatenated value to the description field. For example, we'll see. So here what they are saying, concatenate two field values and write concatenated values to the description field. I'll show you. For example, short description is there, an assignment group is there. I want this to be updated in the description field. Okay, I want to update this in the description field. Okay, how we can do that, let's see. I want to update what is the short description and what is the assignment group in the description field. So I'll use the same business rule which we have used earlier, and I'll change the name to update description. Active. I'll remove the action list. So here first, in order to update like concatenate two values, I have to get what is the start description and what is the assignment group. Okay. So First assignment group is assignment group. I am storing in a variable first. Assignment group is current dot assignment group or display value means it will be displaying me, like it will be giving me the what is getting displayed there. Why I have used get display value is because it's a reference field. If you see, this is a reference field. It is, we are trying to get this assignment groups from some other table. So I just want what is getting displayed there. This is which might be L2 support in this case. Okay. So and short description dot short description. Okay. So now what we want to do, we want to update to the existing description saying what is the assignment group and what is the short description, or we can just replace those values, like what I can do. So first I want to update, right? So current dot description is assignment group and after that I want to give a line. Whenever I want to give a new line, I'll be using /n. Okay, and then short description is short description. Okay. So what I am doing here, I'm doing short description. So whatever in this double quotes, it will be displaying as it is, and this is the variable which I have created earlier. This, right? So I have to use plus between these, so this will be appended to this, and /n in order to this after whatever right after this should come in new line. So short description will be coming new line, and whatever the short description we can see, though that will be shown here. And this will be running before updating or inserting the data. And let me remove this particular filter condition as well. So short description, I'm changing to something. So the description, it was something else earlier, but now it got changed to assignment group is L2 support and short description is email server is down. Please fix it as a. Okay. So before actually updating the data, it is taking the values from short description and assignment group and it's updating. So why we use before business rule? In order to update the fields on the same incident record. Okay. Even we can use in order to abort the actions, or we can even use before query as well. I'll show you a before query example if we can. Okay. Let me open any of the business rules. So let's come to that later, but now we'll just go through the what are types of business rules. Okay. So I guess everyone understood before business rule. Any doubts in here? So if you check this diagram here, so whenever someone updates a form, before business rule will be execute first, and then it will be going into database. Okay, whatever you have changed the values and whatever the values changed in this before business rule, those will be going to the database. Okay, so but in after business rule, if you check the diagram, so if you save the form, all the values will be saved to the database. Then after business rule will be executed. Okay, so that is by the names. After will be running after saving the details into the database. After business will execute their logic immediately after a database operation occurs, and before the resulting form is rendered to the user. That means the form will load, right? So what it will do? First, it will run all the before business rules. Then it will save the form. Then after business rule will be running. Like after all this transaction happens, then only we can able to see the form. That means, for example, if I write something, okay, so first all the before business rules will be running, then form will be updated, and then after business rules will be running. So then only this particular form will be rendered to user after saving. Okay, I'll show you that example as well. So use after business rule when no changes are needed to the record being accessed to the database. So we will be using before business rule when we want to update the same record. Okay, some field values of the same record. Okay, so when we should use after business rule when there is no need to change the same record, then we can use after business rule. For example, use after business rule when updates need to be made on the record related to the record access. Okay, if record has child record, use after business rule to propagate the change from parent record to the children. For example, there will be related list, right? So if you update something here and if you want to update something else in the child incidents or task SLAs or the problem or the change related to this incident, then you have to use after business. Okay. Let's see what are the after business rule examples. For example, this is there, right? This is the perfect example where here we are trying to link interaction to the incident. Okay, so when after inserting the data, like whenever any new incident gets created, okay, so here we are trying to get some client data which with the name incident parent interaction. So if it gets to true, then what we are doing here, we are creating a interaction related record. Means here we are linking the interaction and the incident, and then we are attaching this particular incident. So where we are attaching, if you see, document ID is current dot get unique value. Current dot get unique value means this is the incident SysID which we are updating in the this particular document ID field. Okay, if you open any of the existing records, here there are no records, maybe because it's demo instance, but in real time you can see. So whenever any new incident gets created, okay, then based on some parameters we are creating the linkage record. So which will link the interaction and incident. Okay, and here we are updating that particular record. Okay, or we are creating a new record which will link in incident and interaction. So here we are not updating the incident record, but we are creating a new record which is related to incident. Okay, that's why we have used after business rule here. So when we use after business rule, whenever we have to do something which is related to incident but not incident itself. Okay. So when after business rule will run, after updating the data into the database, after business rule will be executing, then only the form will be loading. Okay. And async business rule is there. I'll show you. So after business rule is similar to async business rule, but there is a difference. Okay, what is the difference is async business rules execute their logic after database operation occurs in the same way how after business rules will run, but these business rules will run asynchronously. What is mean by asynchronous means here whenever, so here we are stopping the execute, like when the form will render to the user in the after business rule case, if you write any after business rule after updating the database, that after business rule has to execute, and once it is executed, then only user can see the form, right? I'll show you this how this can impact. For example, I'm updating something here. Okay, just observe how quickly this is getting shown. Now I'm saving the form all before after business rules gone run, and I'm able to see this particular form. For example, someone wrote the code which is very complex in the after business rule or very long. Okay, I will just use the same example which is here. Demonstrate after BR. Okay. So this is after. So here, let's suppose say I want to, like, there is, it might be some complex code, but as of now what I'm doing, I want to just use gs.sleep of 10,000 milliseconds, means 10 seconds. Like there is some code which will run for 10 seconds. Okay. So if I try to update the same incident, which was executing very quickly till now, and I'm updating this particular incident. If you see it, form got saved, but it's keeping on loading. User is not able to see that particular form. Okay, form got saved, but it is taking time to load. Why? Because in this particular after business rule, there is some code which will run for 10 seconds. So every time user submits the form, he has to wait. Okay, so which is really bad experience for the end user if there is any code which runs for long time. Okay, so if you change it to async, okay, if you change it to same thing to async, then that particular code won't run synchronously. That means user don't have to wait until that particular that particular business rule runs. Okay, the same code in the case of async will check. Okay. Now let's save the form. So it is getting loaded quickly. Why? Because it is not running here. It is running in the backend somewhere else. I guess it will be running in this trigger record. So this will run this particular business rule. Okay. So async after BR is there, right? So after BR is the name of this particular business rule. So it created entry here. Okay. And it will execute in the asynchronous manner. Okay. So here it got executed. That's why we are not able to see. So it will create the entry in the systrigger record with the name of this particular business rule. So because it should run asynchronously without impacting the users. So that's why there won't be any lag on the incident form. So that is the async business rule. Okay. So like after business rules, async business rules execute their logic after database operation occurs. But unlike the after business rules, async business rules execute asynchronously. Async business rules execute on a different processing thread. Okay, on a different processing thread means which will create a systrigger record internally and then it will run later. Okay, they are queued in a by scheduler, which is trigger record is a scheduler to be run as soon as possible. Okay, this allows current transaction to complete without waiting for the business rules to be executed to finish and prevent freezing a user screen. So because of this, what is the use? Users don't have to wait until that particular operation happens. Okay, use async business rules when the logic can be executed in near real time as opposite to the real time. Okay, one second. So we'll continue the class tomorrow. That's it for today. So this async business rules we can use, for example, to invoke a REST API. Okay, or some SLA calculation where there are a lot of calculations. Okay. Any doubts?